One.
Oh, I'm glad you're recording it. I wasn't sure if you were going to.
Yes, we are. So that there are people who bought the class but can't join, and I just couldn't really do it any other day. And I know the timing is kind of a little weird for some people because it's dinner time and everything, but I still
Yeah,
do
Works.
it when I can do it.
I get it.
So all our schedules, right?
Oh, I know. Busy.
Yes. All right, all right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I am glad you're here. And if you're watching this recording, I'm glad that, you want to learn how to take care of, or rather prevent infections this season, flu specifically, but also colds, all kinds of things that comes with as the winter approaches, even for allergies. So what I'm actually going to say is for pretty much all of the upper respiratory, issues, as well as some of the lower respiratory. So one of the most key things that you got to know is that that's my cat. He just made this weird sound. So I was just wondering what happened. So one of the most important things that we need to understand is that if we take care of upper respiratory infections the right way, we would prevent it from going into the lower respiratory tract. So which means that we don't have to address pneumonia or bronchitis or even asthma later on if you're actually addressing everything up here. So which is runny nose, stuffy nose, itchy eyes, watery eyes, throat pain, throat itching, itching on the roof of your mouth, or cough. All of these are actually upper respiratory. Even sinus infections many a times can be an upper respiratory thing as well. So which means that if the sinuses are congested, oh, the sun is perfectly coming down right now. I was like, okay, this is when we can't really see anymore here. Okay, I may have to move a little bit. I hope that works. Maybe, maybe not. We will find out. Man, okay. I think that did it. That did the trick. Perfect. Okay, so you can still see me. So yeah, it's a very important aspect that, we learn how to treat acute upper respiratory things better. So even somebody has, let's say, a sinus infection, or the sinuses are congested, the headaches and all that, then what I'm actually going to share with you today is going to be helpful and, useful. So if you start noticing anything like this coming up, then absolutely start on this protocol. So that's what I want to share first. Also, if you haven't really yet gotten a good vitamin D, this would be a good time to do so. Again, if you are not someone who is going out in the sun as often as you should be, then I would encourage you to really do that. Oh man, this video is really getting more and more sunny, and how can it be fun without some challenge? So I hope you can still see me clearly. Okay. So I am trying here. Jandrik, is the video quality okay? I know that the sunlight is kind of doing all kinds of weird things here right now. No, no, great. No, no. Oh. Okay, thank you, Jandrik. Appreciate that. Okay. So if you are not someone who's going out in the sun, this would be a good time. The weather is great. Go out in the sun, be in the sun for 30 to 45 minutes, exposing skin. That's very important. Otherwise, you're not really going to get absorb vitamin D without sunscreen. That's also another important part of it. Otherwise, you're not going to absorb vitamin D. So get as much sun as possible. And that's going to help keep your immune system strong. Most often, we have heard this, right? Flu season, flu season, flu season. But what is flu season? Flu season is really when the sunlight becomes lesser and we're exposed to less sunlight, then our immune system drops, and that causes us to get sick more often. So if you are not yet doing it, this is a good time to go out and get some sun on your skin so you can produce your own vitamin D. The other one is get a good quality vitamin D. If you're brown color or darker, you do want the D3 with K2. Not that, white people shouldn't take it with K2. It's always absorbed better. But if you're definitely darker, you absolutely want it with the K2 for a better absorption. So for brown people, the exposure should be 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes a day. And for white people, at least 20 to 30 minutes a day. So that's the recommended time for you to be able to absorb enough vitamin D. So that's the first thing I'll say. Second thing I'll actually say is, so obviously our immune system is only as good as your gut health. So which means that make sure you're pooping every single day regularly. Okay, and it has to be healthy, the sausage shaped, the formed, all of those good stuff. Okay, it's very important that's happening. And if it's not happening, if you're gassy, bloated, any of those kinds of things, then you're going to get sick more often. So definitely start from the gut. Okay, so if you are someone who tends to get constipated, this is my tip for you. Okay, take vitamin C. Okay, so if it's a child, the child will actually take 500 milligrams if it's 1 to 5 years, twice a day, 500 milligrams of vitamin C. And if they are over 5 to 7, I would say 1,000 milligrams twice a day. And then if they are over 10 to 15, then it is 1,500 milligrams twice a day. That makes it 3,000 milligrams a day. And over the age of 15, anywhere between 3,000 to bowel tolerance. What that means is that until you actually have diarrhea. So that's how much vitamin C you can actually take. So vitamin C is a fantastic eliminator. So if you're taking vitamin C, you get two benefits. One, you're going to keep your bowels clean. Second is that you also have a increased immune system boost. So your immune system is going to fight better for you. So this is a good time to also add vitamin C into your regimen if you don't already do it. And especially if you are someone who gets sick easily and things like that, then it's a fantastic time for you to add vitamin C into your lifestyle. So I really like Vitality C. It doesn't really have much of a taste. I mean, it's slightly, but not much. And it's also very easy to get larger doses. So I get like 4,000 milligrams per scoop. And if you get 2 scoops, that's like 8,000 milligrams. And that's actually really good in many, many different ways. So it's a great antioxidant. So which means that it's good for skin, it's good for hair. It actually prevents infections. Third is it actually is also great for absorbing iron from your food. So if you eat a lot of greens and things like that, then the vitamin C allows for the iron to be absorbed better. And then it also helps you eliminate things from your gut more easily. So it's another great addition that you might want to consider during this time. Okay, so today I'm going to make a master tonic. So how many of you actually don't have my book yet? If you don't, this is a good time to have it, get it. It's on Amazon. We have actually sent you the links. You already have it. If not, you can always find out from our office and we'd be able to give that to you. The book is called as What's the Natural Treatment for That? Okay, we are going to, let's, okay. So I want to show you this. Okay, that's the reason why I actually turned on another camera. So here what you see on your screen is all the things that I've actually cut up for the master tonic that I'm going to make. So here is the red onions or the purple onions. You can use white onions. Actually on the recipe in my book, it says white onions. I just don't know why, but I like the purple red onions better than white onions. I use them interchangeably. The white onions do have certain kinds of medicinal properties. Red onions have certain kinds of medicinal properties. So you can use them either or. And this is the horseradish. So horseradish is this. So it actually it's a root vegetable. If you've never seen one, you can bite its sprouts. That's where I got it. This is an organic horseradish. And so it has a skin that's kind of like a tan color. And I peeled the skin and I've actually grated it and kept it right there. So that's the jalapenos. And that's actually a pepper that grew in my garden. So it's very hot. honestly speaking, I do not know what this pepper is. I have no name for it, but it is a hot pepper. So I have this and that. And I'm also going to add ginger and garlic, but I have them frozen. Okay, so I'm gonna show that to you. So what I typically do is, this is a silicone bag, and I don't really like to keep doing these things over and over again. So I buy organic ginger in bulk. And then if you see it here, that's the ginger that has been rather made into a paste. And then I put it into silicone molds and put it in the freezer, and then take it out of the freezer and then put it, take it out of the molds and put it in the bag and leave it in the freezer. So anytime I want, I always have access to that. So that's the ginger we are going to use. And I have done the same thing with the garlic. My God, it smells so good already, just opening the bag. So that's the garlic. Okay, I've done the same thing with it. So those are things that we're going to use. And here is my ball jar that I'm going to use for this purpose. So all you have to do now is literally, okay, I'm just going to grab these things. Okay, I'm going to use this at home, so I don't have any problem in using my hands. They are washed and sanitized. So there's nothing unhygienic about using your own hands for your family, right? So I'm not using any gloves. But if you're actually going to do this, in a commercial way, then obviously you have to do those kinds of things. So all I'm doing is just putting the onions, the chili peppers, the jalapenos, the horseradish. Everything is going in, as you can see. And this is the preparation for the master tonic. It's actually super simple. Okay. And I hope you actually prepare it with me, or after this class is over, you prepare it and keep it, because it's going to take 15 days for us to have this ready to go, for you to actually be able to take it internally. So I'm actually adding one of the garlic thing that I have, and then I also am adding one of the ginger. And here I have the apple cider vinegar. It's a North Coast one. It's raw, and you can get Bragg's. For some reason, I couldn't get the Bragg's this time, so I just got this. I may have to use two hands right now. So I have to open it. Okay, so here we have, it's open, and nicely mix the apple cider vinegar when you do it, because it matters. You really want the bottom of that, like that, the sediments at the bottom to really be in this. And then I am just filling this bottle up. And my apple cider vinegar just finished. Perfect. So, and I'm gonna just see, you can see it now. It actually has all of these things. Doesn't it look great? It looks so colorful and pretty and everything. If you want, you can actually add a pinch of salt to it. I'm not going to do that right now. The reason why I'm not going to do that is because it really reduces the fermentation process. So if you add salt now, it'll actually not ferment as fast. So I'm not going to add any salt to this. So the apple cider vinegar, everything is just going to brew in here right now. So I'm going to just get an airtight lid for this. So I don't use the ones that come with these ball jars, because they are mostly made out of aluminum lids, and they can be very corrosive. And as you know, many of these lids will actually rust over a period of time because of the nature of it. And it also has some iron and all that. So I really don't want to use those. So I usually get an alternative lid for them, and I buy these ball bottles. And I'm going to, so it has this airtight seal to it. So, in here, which actually makes it really nice and tight. But one thing that you want to do is, now I'm going to close it, and I'm going to vigorously shake it. So even though the ginger and garlic are frozen right now, over a period of time, obviously at room temperature, it'll come to become a paste and mix with everything. So one thing I would suggest is, so you're going to leave this on the counter for 14 days, okay? So every time you're in the kitchen, as you walk past it, just take it and shake it, okay? That's it. It's very, very easy, okay? And so it also makes it easy when you do that to get all of the ingredients kind of cooking and fermenting, okay? So do that every single day, okay? At least once a day if you can, twice a day. But since it is actually in apple cider vinegar, you wouldn't have any problems with it spoiling, okay? But the mixing part will make sure that everything is mixing and there's nothing on the top that is actually coming out and sticking out and starting to rot, okay? So can you please list out the ingredients for the master tonic along with the proportion? Janri, could you actually put that on the chat, please? We already sent out the list, but we can actually put that out there. And if you have the book, it's actually on there as well. You know, the quantities on it, the proportion of it. So simple. So then what do we do? After 14 days, okay, so there's nothing to cook, there is nothing to bake, nothing, right? Simple. Take everything raw, put it in here, put it out, okay? And once it's after 14 days, you take it out, take a filter, okay, a stainless steel filter or a cloth, a cheesecloth, whatever you have at hand, okay, take that, of course, clean, and then you filter the whole thing out and nicely crush all of the things that are in there, like onions and all that, because we have cut it up and put it, right? So it's not obviously, completely broken down. So when you actually nicely crush it, all of the juices will get out of that as well. And then you can take that and compost that part of it, okay, if you want. Or usually what I do is I take all of it and make a soup out of it. So I put it in a soup, okay, so that you can take that ingredient and not throw it away. So now this is the master tonic. So what do we do with this? Starting now, you can actually start taking a teaspoon every morning with a little bit of honey if it's a child and they won't take it. But if it's an adult, I'm going to say suck it up and take it. The spice is really, really necessary and important. So in Chinese medicine, we say spiciness has something to do with your respiratory tract, okay? So it's connected to your lungs, it's connected to your sinuses, it's connected to your nose. So what it will do is it will actually clear it up. So if on a regular basis in Ayurveda, there is actually many methods that cleanses the nasal passages. That it's very important part of the panchakarma. Okay. And why is that so important? Because we understand that all of the elimination pathways, if they are open and working optimally, then we are going to have health. So this probably will make you go, have like a few sneezes. Probably you'll have a bowel movement too. The spiciness also has an effect on the large intestine, the colon. So it gets it to move. And so you'll have a bowel movement too. So it's a great one. And it also helps in increasing your metabolism. So which means that if you're really wanting to lose weight or something, this is another one to add to the mix. So it'll actually help you lose weight faster. So that's really something that we do. And the reason why I also did this today, I know many of the people couldn't really join live today because of the time and so on and so forth, but I wanted to do this before we got into the cooler season, so that because this is going to take 14 days, right? It's not going to be today. So by the, almost the 20th of October, this will be ready. And then when the weather starts cooling down, you're already ready for the season to, get your health where it needs to be. So a teaspoon once a day for a child with honey, if they need to be. An adult can actually take it twice a day. If you're making a salad, this will make a great salad dressing as well. So you can add a little bit of olive oil to it, and then you can, put it on the salad. Another thing that I would maybe suggest you to do, if you want to, is add a little bit of salt after the fermentation process is over, after 14 days. Okay, you can add it to the jar itself and leave it there. Okay, this does not need to be refrigerated after you make it because of the apple cider vinegar that we added in there. It acts as a preservative. So there is nothing to freeze or keep in the refrigerator. Just keep it out, but also teach your children. Tell them that, hey, this is something that you got to take every morning when you wake up. So they can actually take it first thing in the morning, drink a glass of water after that, maybe even with honey. That way they don't really feel like the spice of it, right? But spices are really, really helpful in helping our body heal in so many different ways, in stimulating certain kinds of passages. It also acts as a vasodilator, which means it'll actually give you energy. As soon as you take it, you're going to be like awake. Okay, how many of you drink coffee for that reason? So from here on, you can replace your coffee with this. It's not going to be the most pleasant or happy experience, but you will wake up, I promise. Okay, so that's the first one, okay, that I actually wanted to share with you for starting to take care of it. A teaspoon. This is going to be super spicy. So for adults, it's a teaspoon twice a day, and children, teaspoon once a day. And if it's very little kids, then just, half a teaspoon should be sufficient, and you can add it with a little bit of honey so that they are not like freaking out and just not going to take it at all. And honey again can be a good source of an immune booster, and also if it's raw, local, and all that, then it's going to help us get the kind of pollen around, get our body to get used to it as well. But don't sweeten it so much that it actually becomes sweet. You do want to feel the bite, okay, the punch should be there a little bit, but just to take the edge off, you can add a little bit of honey. Okay, so that's our master tonic. So now I do want you to actually share with me if there are specifically any health concerns you have during this season that you want me to address as well on this workshop, because then it becomes more that I can also answer those questions. So I'm going to put this away, and also the ones in the freezer, so that they're all not melted by the time I'm done with the workshop. All right. That was easy, right? Nothing really there that was so challenging or difficult to do. So anybody who doesn't really even have any cooking experience or being in the kitchen can actually do this. That's how simple it is. And also I would really highly suggest that it has to be if you have like a loved one, this is something that you can actually share with them as well, this recipe, so that they can make it if they are living in the Northeast, colder climate. It's really, really helpful. So, the way in India, they have actually used many of these spices is for really stimulating that large intestine as well as the lung to really work together. So they are both in the same meridian, which means that if the large intestine is not working optimally, the lung isn't going to work optimally, okay? And the third one is the skin. So these three are in the same meridian, so same organ systems. So that's also the reason why the first thing I said was to make sure you're not constipated. So when you have this, what it does is it has a certain effect on the mucosal lining of the large intestine, as well as the mucosal lining of the lungs, as well as all of the upper respiratory tract. So whenever we are exposed to a virus or a bacteria or a pollen or any kind of foreign substance for that matter, the first thing that actually happens is it goes and sticks to the mucosal lining. And in the mucosal lining, there are many different types of cells that are there that are constantly watching and seeing what is coming and touching it. So when something foreign comes there, the immune system recognizes it and then produces histamine. So first, it also produces, along with histamine, is immediately mucus production. Okay, so this mucus production helps stick to whatever is the foreign body and helps it get eliminated. So what are we doing with the master tonic is we are actually stimulating the mucus production even without a foreign body on an everyday basis. So every time you drink it, all of your sinuses and everything is going to start, like producing that mucus. But it's the more the watery, runny mucus which will come out. So you're going to blow your nose a few times. And that is going to help clean up whatever was there so that nothing is going to stick, nothing is going to go into your throat, nothing is going to go into your lungs. So we won't have any problems. And again, if you have a good bowel movement, then nothing is coming out through the liver, into your blood, and then into your lungs, and all of these things as well. So it kind of prevents all kinds of problems just by doing one thing there. Okay. Another immune booster is zinc. Okay, so I always tell people that have a copper pitcher. Okay, I have to show you the setup because I think it'll be interesting for some of you what I have done here. So it's going to look weird. So this is my water pitcher that I actually collect my reverse osmosis water in and put it. So you see a little tube coming out, okay? And you might think, what is going on here? Okay, so I have a little, oop, not the right one. Okay, so for a second, I'm going to do this. So what I'm doing here is, so this is stainless steel outside and copper on the inside. So do you see the effervescence coming out of this at all? Can you see it? Can you see the bubbles? So I'm sorry. So you see the bubbles. I'm not making soda water. That's not what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is this is that goes in a fish tank. Okay, it actually oxygenates and moves the water. Okay, that's what it does. So this you can get for, I don't know, $6, $5 at any pet store, or you can get it on Amazon, something like that. So all I do is I fill up the water in that copper pitcher. So if you will see, the inside of it actually looks kind of brown, and that's actually because of the copper. So the inside of this pitcher is copper, okay? And the outside is stainless steel. So because I really don't like the way copper looks outside, if I leave it to be that way, it really changes color and oxidizes easily and looks nasty. So I like the stainless steel look of it because of that. Okay. So I can actually, Janri can send you the links for those. Okay. It's actually called as it's used in the fish tanks. Okay. That's what it's used for. So it's called the aerator, or it's called as the oxygen pump. Okay, that's what it's called. Okay, so you can get that, and you can actually hear this going constantly. Okay, so what it does is it moves the water. So one of the things about water that's very important is that, back in the day, humans didn't really drink water that was stagnant, right? So it was always closer to the water bodies. All our civilization has really happened around moving water, because that is important for the thriving of humankind. So, but now what do? We are essentially always in stagnant water bodies. That's what we are using to drink water from, right? So whether we actually take it in a water bottle, whether it is in a pitcher, whether it is in your water tank, in a reverse osmosis filtration system, whatever it is in a stagnant form. And then when we get the water from the faucet and into a pitcher and leave it, we are still doing the same thing. So what this does is it oxygenates and moves the water. Okay, so the water becomes more alive. And that's very, very important. Alive water is extremely essential. Okay, and people spend thousands of dollars to do this. And here it'll take you only $6 or $10 to do this. Okay, so I have this set up all the time going. So this is the water I use to fill up into my water bottle or into the kettle if I'm actually going to heat the water for whatever we do, smoothies, or whether it is actually anything, teas. All of it, first the water gets filled in the pitcher, and it runs usually at least overnight, sometimes longer than that. So every night before I go to bed, I fill up the pitcher with water and put the aerator in and go. So in the morning, typically what's happening is we need water, right? All of us are going to be drinking water, making smoothies. So for all that, we need water. So pretty much all of the pitcher will be used up in the morning, and then we refill it back again. Okay, you can have 2 or 3 going like this. If you have a lot of people in the house, you can buy a big pitcher. I don't, because this is sufficient for us for now, just 3 of us in the house. So it's not a big deal for us. So that's what I do. Okay. So water, again, the amount of water you drink is essential, because all of your mucous membranes in your lungs, in your upper respiratory tract, in your colon, all of it requires enough fluid in order for them to be able to function optimally. If they become dry, they cannot move things out of those areas. So now is also the time where nosebleeds are pretty common. A lot of people start having nosebleeds. Why? Because this is Vata season. Vata seasons means drying of everything. So the leaves are starting to get dry, the air actually becomes dry and kind of crisp. So this change is also happening to us. People will notice their hair becoming dry, their skin becoming dry. So what do? We want to make sure we are hydrating properly. We are using good oils to massage our skin, our scalp, as well as using good kinds of fats like chia seeds, flax seeds internally to also moisturize things. But water is extremely essential. Without enough water, we are dehydrated, then we are going to have more nosebleeds. We're also going to have bacteria and viruses that are going to get stuck in those passageways because there is no way for it to be removed. The mucus layer of the skin of the nostrils are not able to immediately react to it. So the mucus is what it gets stuck to. But if it's dry, there's nothing really happening and it's not sending the message to the immune system. So make sure you are drinking plenty of water. I always say half of your body weight in ounces and preferably warm. Again, Vata season, and then we'll be going into Kapha season. Vata season means dry, Kapha season means water, wet. So what you want is you want actually to be able to use the water optimally. So when it's dry, when you drink warm water, it actually absorbs better into your body. So not room temperature, warm to hot. Okay, so especially during the Vata season. So it's a good idea to do that if you don't already do it. Okay. So then now let's actually look at what other things can you do. You can actually do homeopathy, homeopathy to rescue. So again, in the book, I've actually mentioned for many, many different kinds of things, what to do. Okay. But I want to actually, again, the workshop is done specifically because it helps you know exactly what to do immediately and how to proceed from there. Okay. So colds and flu, they actually have many different stages. Excuse me. We have a visitor here again. So he wants to be a part of the video and he's like right there trying to push off my bottle, the water pitcher and all kinds of things. No, they're not gonna bite me. Be nice. Be nice. Play nice. So in this, there are obviously 50 remedies. And if you are not used to this, this is another one that you want to get. We have it in our office and Jandri can actually include the link here as well to where to purchase it. This is going to be your friend. If you're going to be traveling, this is going to be your friend. If you have someone sick at your home, this is going to be a friend. Why? Because it actually packs a punch in this little tiny box. And we have literally all these cute looking bottles, right? But it lasts for a long time. I don't even know how old this kit is. And homeopathy never expires. So which means that if you buy one kit, it can actually last you for years and years and years. And I have had homeopathic remedies from India that I actually brought when I first came to the United States when I was 23 years old, and that was 21 years ago. And I still have some of the remedies, from that long ago, and they still work. So that's how amazing the shelf life of homeopathy. So which is the reason also why I want you to have this with you so that you can, make sure that you can use it easily. Like, for example, you're traveling. What are you going to do? Carry the Master Tonic with you? No, it's kind of difficult, right? But this is easy to do. But if you do want to carry the Master Tonic, I am going to give you a trick there. So get 2-ounce dropper bottles, okay? Because you can actually carry up to 4 ounces or 3.4 ounces rather when you're even doing air travel, right, during the holiday season. So it's a good time to get it in 2-ounce bottles, maybe in 2 bottles, and then you just take a dropper full twice a day. So that's another way of getting that, Master Tonic into your body, even when you're traveling. So wherever you are, it is also probiotic, okay? So there is prebiotic, probiotics in that. So it's actually really, really good for you to keep your immune system strong. So first line of remedies, the moment you get sick. Okay, I'll tell you about the Master Tonic as well. So I told you already how to keep taking it ahead of time so you don't get sick. That's the first one. But if you do get sick, then what you want to do is you want to actually take it 2-3 times a day. So when you take it 2-3 times a day of the Master Tonic, you are increasing the body's ability to fight off whatever it is trying to fight off. So instead of just taking it in the morning and evening, you can actually increase the dosage to a tablespoon 3 times a day, which is going to help. And you can add it in your food and things like that as well. Homeopathy actually works quickly, like that, instantly. But it all depends on the duration of the condition, not really the duration of how long it takes for the homeopathy to work. So in acutes, it works wonderfully because in my 44 years of being on this planet, I've actually never have had to take painkillers or, I've never had a respiratory tract infection where I had to take an antibiotic or ear infection or throat infection. I've never taken antibiotics for any of these kinds of things, right? So, which means, and what have I actually relied upon is homeopathy. Okay. So, because my father is a homeopathic doctor, I had to pretty much, I was raised on homeopathy. Actually, we didn't even get raised as much on herbs. We would do some tinctures at home. We would make some herbal teas at home and things like that. But for the most part, I was actually raised on homeopathy because it was the easiest thing to do, right? Like it's sweet, easy. Which kid doesn't like it? So I definitely liked it. And so it was easy for me to take. No, you can actually get it from our office or Amazon, either or. We do carry it in our office now. So you absolutely can buy the book from our office. So now the two remedies that I actually say that you start out with the moment you get sick or somebody in your family is sick, the remedies that you want to start out of Aconite 200, that's the first remedy. The second one is Bryonia 30C. Okay. Aconite 200 and Bryonia 30C. Janrik, could you type that over, please? So, and that would be super helpful. Okay, so what you do is you immediately take a dose. A dose typically in this is, 2 to 3 pills, and you take 2 to 3 pills 3 times a day. As soon as you are starting to feel anything like a scratchy throat, itchy nose, whatever the symptom is, like a little bit of runny nose, feeling a little run down, start it immediately. When you start that immediately, it aborts many a times the progression of the illness, because how does an acute upper respiratory tract infection start? Usually it starts as a runny nose, or feeling run down, or having stuffy nose, or a slight fever, right? So this is the first sign and symptom. And if you catch it, then it won't progress as much. And do not take a cold medicine. Do not take a fever medicine. This is super important. Even if you have a fever, do not take a fever medication like Tylenol or ibuprofen, because if you take it, you're going to stop your body from progressing to stop the infection. Okay, because every time that body's temperature goes up, it is trying to keep the infection down, kill the virus and bacteria for you. But if you stop the fever, then the viruses and bacteria are going to reproduce. Okay. But if you're afraid that, oh, I can't deal with fever, or it's too high, I'm very uncomfortable, then the next remedy of choice is Belladonna 200C, another remedy in the kit, okay, right above Bryonia. Okay, so that's Belladonna 200C. I don't think you can actually see it. It's not very clear on that, but it's Belladonna 200C. Thank you, Chandrik. So that's your remedy of choice. But what it will not do is it will not bring it back to the temperature that our normal body temperature is, which is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. It will not bring it down to 98.6 degrees, and for a good reason. So if the temperature is over 102, which is usually the time when, it's like, oh, it's super uncomfortable, it's 104. So at this temperature, you don't want it to be super high as well, but at the same time, you kind of want it to drop down to a temperature where it's still going to fight the infection, but it's not going to drop it down so much that it's actually going to stop the body from fighting the infection. So with all homeopathic remedies for fever, you will never ever see the temperature going to normal unless your body dropped it down to it. So this is one of the key things that people actually don't understand, which is the reason why they think homeopathy doesn't work, because they'll take it for fever, like that temperature is 102 and it comes down to maybe 101 or 100, and they're like, oh, see, the temperature is not normal, let me take Tylenol. No, you do not do that. So I'm going to tell you a story. So this is one of my cousins. So her daughter had chickenpox, and interestingly speaking, they actually had the chickenpox vaccine too, and still got chickenpox. This is in United Kingdom. So and so when they had chickenpox, and the father who had never had chickenpox as a child also got chickenpox, okay, which was harder for him because he has never had chickenpox. Okay, for an adult it can be harder, and for teenagers it can be harder, but for a child it's not. So anyways, what they do is, so she gives homeopathy, Belladonna, because the fever was there, and Bryonia and Aconite, and it brought it down from 102 to 101. And obviously I didn't teach her well, so she actually went ahead and gave Tylenol and ibuprofen. So this was going on for 4 days, right? And the fever keeps coming back. The fever keeps coming back. And so she calls me and says, what's going on? It's not getting better. And I said, what did you do? And then she tells me the whole thing. And I said to her, so you were doing Tylenol, ibuprofen to bring it to normal temperature. The body never had a chance to fight the virus. So now you want to stop and you're going to only do homeopathic remedies, let the fever go up. And lo and behold, 24 hours later, there was no fever. So that's actually the power of our body. It's kind of pretty cool and unique and smart and intelligent. So trust your body. This is also a lesson for that, to trust our own bodies and its ability to fight things and heal things. And we got to trust it because it's doing it all of the time for us. So if we go against it, so anything that you're doing to fight it, like if you kill the virus, taking a flu medication that kills the virus is not optimal. Why? Because your body never learned how to fight it. So which means it's going to come back. Taking a flu shot isn't good. Why? Because usually a flu shot isn't really, flu shot is really based on the principle of homeopathy. But the problem with it is that a flu virus never enters your bloodstream directly. It enters through your nose, it enters through your mouth, right? But a flu shot, you're giving it directly into your bloodstream. Many people develop autoimmune diseases. It's almost like we are afraid of a cockroach and we are burning the roof of the house. That makes no sense. So you do not need to burn, set your roof on fire because you're afraid of cockroach. So flu is a cockroach. And your body's immune system really needs to be protected. And we don't need flu shots. And every time you take a flu shot too, I don't know if you know this, but every year it changes because every year they actually have that strain and your body is literally taught only to deal with that strain. But that's not how natural immunity works. The way natural immunity works is that you learn how to fight a certain virus. For the most part, anything that looks similar to it, your body already knows how to do it. So it has the recipe for it. And oftentimes you're coming across the virus, not just the flu, many other kinds of viruses and bacteria, and you don't even know it because your body fought it off without even realizing. And you were all better and you were actually just enjoying your day as you were, and you didn't even know how many things your body fought. So it's wonderful to trust your body to do that. Okay. Then these are the remedies that I love for flu. Anything with body aches, gelsemium, Ristox. These are two common remedies that we use for flu. And then if there is a lot of runny nose, again, the initial stages of it, Arsenicum album, Allium cepa, anything with eye symptom, Allium cepa is the onion. So which means that like when we peel the onions, what happens? We have burning the eyes, right? That's how you remember. Okay, so if you have any symptoms, it's associated with your eyes and your nose. It's Allium cepa made from the onion. Okay, so that's how you know. Arsenicum album is actually just more of the runny nose without much of the eye symptoms. Arsenicum album also can actually make the person be a little bit more blue. So arsenic poisoning, which is not what homeopathic arsenicum album is, it's actually in such small doses that it has a therapeutic effect on your body. But arsenic poisoning causes a person to turn blue. So when somebody is actually sick and they have more of a pale color to them and they have a little bit more of, the skin looks a little bit more bluish and they have difficulty breathing, arsenic album is a fantastic remedy for that. Okay. And then if the infection continues for a long period of time, like for example, you didn't really take care of it, or maybe you're right now, learning all of these things and you already got sick and you're still having all these residual symptoms that are not going away, then the remedy of choice for you is Ferrum Pause. And that's a remedy that will actually help your immune system fight off this internally, whatever is sitting there and you're not able to get it out, it'll get it out of your system. Okay, so, and again, there are many other remedies and we have it in the book because it's symptom-based. Homeopathy is symptom-based. It is not based on a diagnosis. It's not based on flu, viral, bacterial. And again, another one to remember is if you let the fever go, do its thing, then you won't have a bacterial infection. Viral infection will stay a viral infection and will clear it off within typically 24 hours, at the most 48 hours. Okay. I want you to try this out. The magic of how your body does this on its own. 24 to 48 hours is all it takes. I don't get sick often, but when I do, it's usually 12 to 24 hours. So it's no magic. It's not like, my body is made up of something different than your body, right? But what I do is I do not take anything that actually does things against what my body is trying to do. I'm always trying to do things that are with the body, for the body, right? So which means that the body is already doing something. I'm working with the body, helping the body get there, which means we arrive earlier than later. Okay, so that's what you want to do. And then also, this is another one that is not really much talked about, okay, is the ones that actually come mostly in the evening. Some people have hay fever-like symptoms, okay, and which means that, it's like allergies, but it usually comes at a certain time. And in those cases, Chincona, which is also in the kit, is a remedy of choice. So it's Cinchona, Chincona. That's a remedy of choice, and it will help tremendously immediately abort the problem. Can you please add the names of the remedies for flu, body aches, and then runny nose? Rustox, Gelsemium, and Arsenicum album. And then we have a lot of cough remedies. So again, if you didn't really get to it right here, then where does it go? It goes right here, okay? And many a times the cough starts in your throat. It actually is like a tickle in the throat, okay? If it's a tickle in the throat, the remedy is causticum with a dry cough, okay? Well, you will have the recording, okay? And again, all of the remedies I'm saying is in the book. So if you have the book, you wouldn't really need it, but otherwise we are actually putting it right here, okay? So the remedy when you have a cough that's dry with a tickle in the throat is causticum, again in the kit. A cough that's actually worse only on lying down. Okay, not that it's not there in the day, but the moment the person lies down, they start coughing a lot more. Rumex is the remedy of choice then. Okay, but then sometimes the dry cough becomes more mucousy and phlegmy. Okay, so you are like coughing and you can hear the phlegm, like, and in that case, the remedy is Spongia tosta. Okay, that's a remedy that you want to take. And in children, sometimes this happens where the child actually has a lot of mucus right there, and you can hear them breathing hard, like, their ribs are like, flailing as they breathe, and it actually looks bad, like they are coughing, and it almost seems like nothing is really coming out, but they are coughing, and you can hear that, okay? And if you put your ears to their chest, you can actually hear that almost like we say ronchi, but I'm trying to think of the word that would be where, like, it's almost like water going through air, almost like a paper rustling. That's the best way I can actually explain that paper rustling sound. In that case, you really want the remedy phosphorus. What phosphorus does is it actually removes all that phlegm from the lungs and excretes it through the urine, which is what you want. You don't really want to be coughing up a lot of the things. See, in many cases, people use expectorants, okay? Expectorants are to remove the phlegm, but you know how hard it is for the body to cough it up. So every time you have to cough it up, and it actually exhausts us to cough that much. But if the phlegm is actually removed through the urine, then you don't have to do that. It actually makes it very easy. Phosphorus is the remedy of choice right there for it. And then let's see, what other remedies? Oh, yeah. As we talked about the, mucus, the mucus coming out of the nose, first it's runny, then it becomes thick, right? So it becomes first thick, that's clear. Pulsatilla is a remedy of choice then when it's thicker and clear, okay? Not when it is, a different color at that point in time. And then when it actually becomes yellow and thick and stringy, it's Calibicromium, okay, which is also in your kit. All of the remedies I'm telling you, I'm looking at the kit, I'm telling you, so it's all in the kit. I'm not really coming up with any other remedies that's not here already. So Calibicromium is also a fantastic remedy for sinus infection. So if there is postnasal drip, that's also the same way, thick and, mucousy that you're spitting out, and it's kind of yellow and hard to bring up, but you're still able to bring it up, that's Calibicromium with any kind of headache, okay? And when it actually becomes even thicker, where it's very hard to bring it up, okay? Like in the sense that it's there, you can feel it, it's like small amounts coming out, and it's so thick, and you can spit it out, and it's like, blobs. That's hydrastis. Again, another remedy from the kid, okay? And if you are having more of a dry cough, but with a little mucus in the throat, and when you bring up any little mucus, it gives you relief from the cough, and Tim Tart. That's the next remedy. Okay, so why do we actually have so many remedies that are for cold and flu? All of it here is not because, that's the most important thing, but these are all remedies that are also used for many other things. The way, when you start learning to use homeopathy, it's going to be really a great benefit for you. It's going to give you so much more than you actually bargained for. See, for example, herbs and things like that, they're all very specific to only certain kinds of things. With homeopathy, the versatility of homeopathy is that many of these remedies are what we call as polycrests. Polycrest means it actually has an effect on so many different body parts. So, for example, let's take arsenicum album. Arsenicum album can be taken for a runny nose. Arsenicum album can be taken for a flu. Arsenicum album was taken for COVID. Arsenicum album is also something that we actually take for food poisoning. It's also a remedy that can be given for anxiety. Okay, so it can be such a versatile remedy. So one remedy does so much for you. That's the reason why we can pack a punch in this little kit. With 50 remedies, we can do so much, okay? And then the same way with, let's take arnica, which is a remedy here. Arnica is actually helpful for post-surgically, okay? If somebody has gone through surgery, you take arnica, your body actually heals faster, okay? You take arnica if you actually fall and have a bruise. You take arnica if you actually fall and hit your head, okay? So you can also take arnica for headache from the sun. So there are many, many benefits to so many of these remedies. And that's the reason why we do only 50 remedies. And it's also a mix of different potencies because of how effective they are. So one other remedy that I want to talk about is actually not one, a few. Sore throat. Okay, that's another one that comes with these symptoms right now. So sore throat with almost like something is stuck in the throat, like, sharp pains. Hepar sulf is a remedy of choice. Hepar sulf 200. And this is going to be a unique symptom because most people would not have thought about it. But when you have this symptom, you would remember me for this, is when you have a sore throat, but when you eat something solid, the pain goes away or is better. But when you're trying to swallow just your saliva, the pain is worse. You know what the remedy for that is? Lachesis. And that is a very common way for people to experience sore throat. You may not believe me, but when you have sore throat, I want you to actually see how it feels. If it is just hurting when you swallow anything, Hepar sulf is a remedy. But if it hurts when you swallow saliva more than when you eat solids, lachesis is the right remedy. You have no idea how many cases I've actually cured with lachesis. Okay. And then another one that I'll also talk about is Drosera. Drosera is actually a remedy for more symptoms like whooping cough. Not necessarily that you have to have whooping cough, but that kind of like a barking cough, like a dry barking cough. Drosera is a remedy of choice. Okay, so pretty much we have covered all of the remedies that would be used during this time for you to be healthy and for your family to be healthy as well. Okay, so now all of these remedies we use after we have issues. Master tonic, vitamin C, vitamin D, we do before we have an issue. So we want to try and prevent things if we can help it. And if it comes, what do we need to do? So that we are actually always armed with all of the tools that we need so we can take better care of ourselves. Questions? No questions? Either you understood everything or you didn't understand anything. What happened? Do you think it's easy enough for you to actually take care of yourself and your family this season? Thank you. And don't be afraid of a virus or a bacteria. That's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, do not be afraid of them. It's such an interesting thing. Okay, there is a concept called the germ theory, and there is a concept called the terrain theory. The germ theory, and both of them actually are valid, not that one is more valid than the other, but we need to understand that the terrain theory is where we prevent things from happening by strengthening this body. So what are we doing by vitamin D, vitamin C, as well as the master tonic? We're actually strengthening the body, keeping the terrain where the organisms don't really want to be here because it's ready to fight, right? So even before something enters, the body is actually knocking it out, so which means that the body doesn't get sick in the first place. So that's terrain theory. Germ theory is where we believe that everything in the air is going to make us sick, and that cannot be the truth because not everybody gets sick every single time when they are exposed to those things. So which means that if we keep the terrain strong, germs have no power over us. So do not be afraid of any of these kinds of viruses and bacteria. See, one of the biggest things that the pharmaceutical industry, the conventional medical world has over us is to actually hold this power over us by talking about some things that we cannot see. We can't see a virus, we can't see a bacteria. So which means that we are always going to be worried about something that we cannot see. But what we can see is this body. And this body does amazing miracles every single day. So trust this body to be able to do that. Okay, so zinc, usually I am not, okay, that's where I was going. Thank you for that question because it's helpful now. So the reason why I actually brought up the water and the copper is because copper and zinc are also great immune boosters. Okay, so the reason why I keep water in a copper pitcher is because it gives me ionic copper on a regular basis. It's a fantastic immune booster. Okay, so that's what we do on an everyday basis. So this also acts as an antibacterial, antiviral, and so on and so forth in the water. So the water actually stays pretty good and healthy as well for us. Okay, so when you take copper on a regular basis, you don't have to take that much zinc. It can come from your food sources. But if you want to, you can always take it as a supplement. I would recommend every day 15 milligrams, for an adult. Okay, 5 milligrams for a child. And you can take it every single day if you want. Okay, there are some vitamins and minerals that you can take every day without any problems. So vitamin D is not one of them that you can take every day for the rest of your life. You only take it from October all the way up until March and stop. And I would like for you to go out and get the sun, more so after that. And vitamin C you can take all through your year. And zinc is another one you can actually take as well. But you have to balance it out with the copper. No, actually the water in a copper container does not have any aftertaste. No, if the copper is not cleaned at all over a period of time, then it can. And also you should never put anything that is sour in a copper container. So for example, if you are someone who puts lemon in your water, do not put it in a copper container. It will make the water have a weird taste, and it's also going to react with each other. So do not do that. We can actually give you the link to get the copper container as well. Okay, so we'll send those things to you by email. Some of the links we'll actually, Chandrik, please make a note of all the links that we need to send so we can send out to all of the participants. The kit, the way it actually compares to echinacea and elderberry, again, can you take elderberry? Absolutely. Okay, but I mean, we actually used to carry elderberry syrup in our office from someone who made local, and I'm not going to beat on it. It's wonderful for you if you love it, okay? But I've not really seen that we need it, okay? Echinacea and elderberry is not something that we use in our household at all for colds. I almost never use it in my practice as well, honestly speaking. These have been sufficient to take care of pretty much all of the acute infections so far. So I just don't use as much of the echinacea and elderberry. Good questions. Any other questions that you have? And as I've talked so much, I need to drink water from my copper container. My pleasure. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate each and every one of you here. And again, knowledge is power, right? So which means that now that you actually have this, I hope you actually teach these to your children so that, because in today's world, that's the biggest thing that's happening is our children are constantly told that they need to be afraid of everything outside. They're also told that, we have no protection against all these viruses and bacteria. And the third thing that they're also told is that natural things are not scientific, and none of that is true. Okay, our bodies are amazingly powerful. They're miraculous. They heal from all kinds of things. So which means that the more we actually take care of this body, the better it can actually fight off things that we can't see. The kit, I think the link was sent on there. You can go on there. I don't want to, tell the price wrong. So Janrik, if you have the price, you can actually put it on there. If not, if you follow the link on the chat, you will be able to see the link to it. And again, this also has many other remedies. It's not just for cold. It has for, toothache. I mean, everything not everything. In the book, obviously, I've actually covered a lot more because I wanted it to be a little bit more comprehensive for you. But this has most of the remedies from my book. And it also has most of the remedies that you would need in order for you to have a day-to-day living. There are some remedies that are a little bit more rare. You won't use it every day and so on and so forth in the book because it is necessary for us to actually include those kinds of things for your information so you learn better. But this is all you would need on a day-to-day basis. Okay, thank you, Janrik. I appreciate that. The kit will not have it. Okay, so if you don't have the book, it does come with a booklet. Okay, the booklet will have the remedies and its use with conditions and its symptoms. Okay, but if you have the book, then you don't need the booklet because the book is so much more comprehensive than the booklet. Okay, any more questions? I'm going to drink out of the pitcher. Like a cave woman. Why not, right? Thank you. You all have a nice evening and thank you for joining me live. And for you who are watching it recorded, thank you so much for, taking control of your health. I love doing these kinds of things because it really, really helps each and every single one of us to become more empowered, to take better control of our own health and take care of our health and our family. So thank you for joining. Love you all. I will see you next time.